Hey fasting friends, it's Casey and I am on starting my third day of the fast, but I wanted to talk to you guys about a very important subject today because this is actually the hardest part of fasting, is how to maintain your weight loss after a fast. Because a lot of people get really good at fasting, and sometimes people can even go for 10 to 30 days, but then as soon as they break that fast, they start binging and eating a bunch of processed crap that then gets them right back into the cycle of weight gain and depression and overeating and constant issues that come along with it. So I want to help you to not have a crash when you come out of your fast so that you can make some good decisions. So let's say that you are finishing up this fast and your goal was to lose weight, but you still have more weight to go. What do you do? So if that's you, what you would want to do is you would do your refeed. It's very important when you do your refeed that you refeed correctly. So you don't want to be eating anything processed, literally no sugar, no flours, no processed garbage. Your body is fully cleansed now, and we want to keep it functioning at its optimal peak health. So you can do that by making sure that you're eating the right amount of protein and complex carbohydrates along with healthy fats that will help keep you balanced. So when you go into that refeed meal, if you are a man, you want to try to stay under 1,200 calories in total on the refeed. If you're a female, you want to stay under 800 calories on your refeed. And I suggest you break it down. You want to have at least 30% of your food being protein. That is the most important thing you can get in your body. And then second to that, you want to have some complex carbohydrates and some healthy fats. So your healthy fats through things like avocados and coconut oil and macadamia nuts, pecans, all those kinds of things. So you do your refeed, and then after your refeed, I would suggest you go back into another fast. You want to do at least 24 hours. That should not be hard after coming off a 72. Going 24 hours and then knowing you get to eat tomorrow night too should not be difficult. So try that. After you do your 24-hour refeed, try to extend and see if you can go to a 36 next time. And you continue that pattern of fasting and then a refeed, fasting and then a refeed. And you want to stretch it as long as you can, working up to another 72, and then go back to a 24 until you work back through it, until you get to the total weight loss that you want, and you are finally to that magic number. So now, that brings me to anybody else that is, they've reached their weight and they want to maintain it, and they're like, this is the hardest part. How do I keep the weight off? I just lost all this weight and now I'm going to eat, and usually the second I take a bite, it's just a slippery slope and I can't stop. So a couple of tips that will help you from binging the moment that you get to eat is start your breaking of fast by a really slow, like 30-minute period of saying, okay, the first thing I'm going to get is broth. And for the first 30 minutes, that's what I get. I get a cup of broth. Now you can savor it for the whole 30 minutes, or you can just chug it down if that's what you want to do. It doesn't matter. But for 30 minutes, broth is the only thing that's going into your window. Another option, if you didn't want to do the broth, and you wanted to be able to kind of control the cravings, would be to mix up the chia seed concoction I made. And that kind of helps suppress your appetite, because those chia seeds will expand. They're going to give you the nutrients and all the omegas that you need, along with other healthy fats, but they're going to expand and they're going to help you to fill part of your stomach up so that you don't just cram it full of other food. So that one, I have a recipe. I will link that in the comments below here so that you can check out that recipe for the chia seed pudding. But either way, you want to do that. So either the broth or the chia seed concoction, and you want to wait for 30 minutes. Then that'll give you time too to prepare the food that you're going to eat. But I would suggest doing something really basic. Don't have some overcomplicated meal. Do some type of meat. Have a nice side of like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, any type of complex carbohydrate as a side. And then you could do some other fats on the side, like I said, avocado, nuts, whatever. So you can do that. And then once you get done with your maintenance meal, you have to figure out your actual body weight. Your true weight loss that you had from this fast will actually show up the following day in your morning weigh-in. So let's give this example. If I was to weigh in at the end of my fast, and let's say I weighed in and I weighed 120 pounds. Now I'm going to eat my refeed meal and I'm going to go to bed. The next day, when I wake up and I weigh myself in the AM, that will be my true weight. Because until you've refed, you don't know where your body's going to settle for weight, and you could be anywhere from 2 to 3 pounds up on the scale from that fast breaking weigh-in. Okay? So don't let that alarm you. I mean, it's awesome that you get to that point prior to your fast, but that is usually a weight that is unfed, and well, it is unfed, but it is also often very low in hydration, so that can be just a not clear number. So your morning weigh-in will give you the actual reality of where you're at. So let's say my morning weigh-in was 122 pounds. So from this point, knowing that this is my weight that I'm at, and as long as I'm sure that this is a good weight for my body, both according to the way I feel and also my body fat percentage, you want to make sure you're in a healthy, normal range there. If you're there, then I would want to maintain the 122. And the best way for me to do that is to say prior to, or when I get done eating my meals for the day, I cannot go higher than 122. So I start out in the morning at 122. Now, if I don't eat until say 3 o'clock, I'd probably be down to 120. So that means that when I choose to eat at 3 o'clock, I get to eat until that scale says 122. Now, some people literally weigh their food, 2 pounds worth of food, and then they eat it. Other people keep their scale in their kitchen and they'll walk over and they'll get on their scale. You can do that too. This is not a forever situation. You guys just have to learn what works for your body and where you're going to be able to stay in that range. For me, I've been able to maintain within 5 to 7 pounds up and down of 125 for the last 5 years. I've never went higher than that or lower than that. I've just maintained in some fashion around 125. And it's really good for our body to be in that healthy zone and never swing higher than 10 pounds, because our body likes, normalcy, it likes patterns, it likes habits. And so you're trying to establish a new habit. So you can do the scale feedback system, watching what you weigh before you eat, not going higher than your morning weigh-in number, or you can simply start journaling and diary your food. So you can use MyFitnessPal, you could just use a regular piece of paper, but you need to be able to know how to break down those macros. So you can see what percentage of protein are you eating and how many complex carbs are you eating and what does your fats look like. So instead of saying well, this is the diet you follow after you stop your weight loss program, you have to find what works for you. So for me, I actually have been kind of trial and erroring it for the last year to kind of see what exactly fits best for me. I know that carbohydrates in the form of any type of flour is absolute crap and makes me feel awful, and it's not good for me. But if I use things like organic corn or organic different vegetables like potatoes, or let's say lentils, or even peas, I can do okay with those type of carbohydrates. My body processes them very quickly. I'm always into ketosis the next day. So, and I also do well on occasion having beans. My husband can't eat beans. If he eats beans, he feels terrible, and it just kind of slows his digestive tract down for quite a while. So you just have to figure out what works for your body and then go from there. So, play around with it. But the most important thing is that you're not going excess on your calories or under on your exercise. You got to keep balance. And the best way to just think about it is you want to have a balanced life, okay? So you have to balance your fasting with your feasting. You have to balance your rest time with your exercise time. And if you find a balance in your life, you'll start to see things just maintain, and it's going to be so much easier. But, keeping accountable with having a support group like Fasting with Friends can really help you. It can also help you to just know that I should be intermittent fasting every day. So that means that after you get to that, I'm at my goal weight, you're still going to intermittent fast every single day. There's never going to be a day that you're well, I'm not fasting at all today. You're going to fast at least 13 hours, but preferably up to 16 on the daily. And then throughout your life, at least every 3 months, I recommend you do a 72 like we're doing right now, because that resets your immune system, kind of cleanses everything out, lets everything rest and reboot. So it's super helpful. If you have further questions, please put them in the comments below. I'm glad you're on this journey with me. And one little quote that I love that I want to leave you with is, what you eat in private, you wear in public. So there's no hiding it, guys. You know, people can see and realize what's going on. You can't you can't confuse them and make them think that you're doing well when your body tells you otherwise. So stay accountable, be responsible for your health. It is your job, it is no one else's to take care of your health. You can do this. Have an excellent day.